minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What's up, y'all? Let me, boom, whoops, let's switch that over. Oh, no, that's right. No, that's not right. I was like, no, that's, yeah, there we go. What's up? Well, that's what happens when we're live. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the Top 5 Moments edition. My name is TK Trinidad, and she is the host and creator of In Cat We Trust. Please welcome Katrina Blake.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to do this top 5. So we just celebrated Veterans Day. So she's the U.S. Army vet, and she is the current, I have to look up the amount of days, but it's been a very long time. I think it might have been, we're bucking at like 400 maybe. The current Pan-African World Diaspora, champion, I should know that. We are breaking down Trisha Adora's top 5 moments. Now, the great thing is we have the writer with us, Katrina. So tell me like how, because she has a lot of great moments. It's just one of those things where you have people who just watch like, you know, the big two. So like WWE and, you know, AEW, etc. But the indie scene is just so huge. And so she has so many great moments. She's been on scene for quite a long time. So how did you kind of knock or get those moments together?
It was kind of hard because she does have like a lot of moments that she's just such an amazing wrestler. And so I was just thinking in the last 6 months alone, just like with some of the moments that did make the top 5, it was just like seeing stuff in person. Just like she's just such a queen. So just to kind of be around that in person is a whole different experience than kind of just watching stuff before that. So, you know, that and then make the milestones with being you know, her championships. There was a couple of milestones she hit, which I thought was pretty awesome. So that made the list. And then the whole PWI thing in general, just she actually made a milestone with that as well. Or made like a record if that's the word I want to use. So it was a little hard, but once I got it together, I was like, okay, let's just kind of list this in a way that seems like appropriate enough. But I'm sure there's like tons of moments that didn't make the list only because I only had 5. So
Right. So let's get into it. Number 5, and this is like good and bad news. Trisha Adora signs with Ring of Honor. So on September 29th, it was announced that Trish got signed to Ring of Honor. She did the Women of Honor Championship, didn't get to the last. I didn't become the champion, Roxy did, but she had a great showing, which resulted in her getting signed to Ring of Honor. Now, Ring of Honor has since said that they're going to be taking a break, and hopefully it's going to be a short break. They said about 3 to 6 months or something like that. So they said they're taking a break, and they are going to be coming back, hopefully. I was with a company who said they were taking a break for 3 months, and then they never came back, and that was a year and a half ago. So let's knock on wood. But yeah, so she got signed to Ring of Honor. Huge congratulations, because she should have been signed a while ago. If you watch our interview with her, she was saying that some companies were like knocking at the door. So, you know, it's a wait and see process. Ring of Honor was the first one to pull that trigger. So hopefully, even though Ring of Honor is no longer around, that still kind of put her name on other people's lists. So what do you think of that moment?
I am a Ring of Honor fan. So it is kind of like bittersweet because being a Ring of Honor fan and having somebody as amazing as her was like, yes, I was super excited seeing that on Twitter when I found that out. So it's kind of sad because like you want her to like, of course I love her in the indie scene as well, but you want your faves in the indie scene to kind of get more exposure to other audience that may not have seen her. So for me, it was like, yay, you get to be with more people can see who you are and what you do. So it's an unfortunate thing that the Ring of Honor is kind of going through what it's going through right now, and I do hope that they come back. But if not, you know, fingers crossed that if not, hopefully some other promotion out there kind of sees that she's amazing and just signs her as well. Like, listen, get to she has so many things in like the last year alone that it's like, hello, someone sign her. So, I mean, again, I was really happy when I saw the news because I saw it on Twitter, but it's like that, oh, this is good, but then, oh, it sucks because look where we are now. So hopefully, you know, everything does work out, not only for her, but all the other wrestlers that was affected by that.
Right. The great thing is that she's stayed working. So it's kind of one of those things. And the thing with the Ring of Honor and like Impact type deals, they can go on the indie circuit wherever. So, I mean, I don't know why we haven't seen her. We did see her on NXT. Has she made an Impact debut at all? I can't recall. But yeah, they're definitely sleeping on her. But you know, we'll continue. I digress. So the number 4 moment is Trish teaming up with Jazz at the Black Girl Magic. So on June 26, 2021, Trish was supposed to put up her Pan-African World Diaspora Championship against Jazz. Actually, I have a story about this. The match became a tag team match where Trish teamed up with Jazz to take on Brooke Valentine and Willow Nightingale, Thick and Juicy 2.0. Seeing Trish wrestle for the first time and seeing another great woman, it was a great moment. Jazz has since, and I kind of spoke to her at NWA. She said that, you know, her knees are not what they used to be. She was doing a retirement, but now I saw another kind of article where she's going to do like tag team matches, and she did do tag team matches with Jordan Grace and Impact, stuff like that. And what happened was when we were interviewing Trish, and I'll tag the interview on YouTube, we were talking about who she wanted to have a match with. And the person was Jazz. And then Sarah was on that interview and she tagged Jazz with it. And it happened. So like I've said on plenty times, Women's Wrestling Talk, we have magic and, you know, we make things happen. So I'm so glad that she was able to make that happen, because one day Jazz is going to say, I'm done. And she's going to really mean it. And then that's it. Because she's been saying she's done for a minute. And I respect it. I get it. Your body's just like, nah. But, you know, I think the ring keeps calling her. So great match nonetheless. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, so this I got to see in person. Tay Norman, who was the one who did the whole one, it was just cool to be in an event where it was all Black women wrestling. And, you know, all women's shows are amazing as it is, but have all Black women show is a whole different like feeling of just like pride. Like there's a whole bunch of really dope Black women wrestling. So that in itself was just great to be in part of that. But then to see Jazz when she came to the arena, and I kind of had a fangirl moment, because I definitely did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like right there, like 5 feet away from me. And I had a moment. And she gave me like super amazing advice when I was telling her I was doing this like backstage stuff, and I was a little worried. Like I don't really like being on camera, so it's like nervousness. She gave me like really, really awesome advice. So when I found out it would be like a tag match, and I'm like, okay, you got 4 women I absolutely love. Then you have somebody like Trish, and then have somebody I idolized watching as a kid. Like, you know, she was so badass. Jazz was so badass, and just, you know, on all, like, who didn't love Jazz when she was, you know, like my age, I guess, whoever was like young and like the 80s and 90s, like, you know, that attitude era where she was just like being so dominant, just who didn't love her? So to see like her and to see somebody who I became such a fan of was just like, I didn't know I needed that match, but it was great to see it in person. It was such a great experience, I guess, to see it as a fan. And I know just all the women that was there, we were all like just all energetic from that, just to have to end the show like that. So for me, it was just like, I didn't know I needed that match, and we got it. And now that you said that she actually mentioned she wanted to tag with Jazz is actually really freaking amazing. Because who knew, like, you know, who you think like you say stuff, but the universe is like, I heard you. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy because Jazz. That's how we got Jazz. I think we've interviewed Jazz maybe 2 or 3 times or so, and that's how we got Jazz the first time. We tweeted "Happy Birthday" if you follow our social media, which you should. We definitely give a lot of shout outs for people's birthdays, and we tweeted "Happy Birthday" to her, and she responded back. I was like, "Oh, by the way." So she's amazing. And then Robert in the chat says that Trish hasn't been on Impact Wrestling, so thanks for letting us know that. Impact, holla at your girl, like for real. So yeah, that was definitely a great moment. We're gonna move on to our third moment, Trish winning the GCW Women's Championship. So on April 11th, 2018, Trish became the first ever GCW Women's Champion. A title that she's held it for 762 days. So that's quite a lot. That's a long time. She's I think she's just I wonder if you were to combine all her championships, would she be the longest woman to have championships for that long across the board? I don't know. Well, somebody do the math. But another great moment. GCW has a great promotion, great matches. So, what made you put this match into the third place?
Well, for me, it was her first title. So that was pretty cool. And then this was like the inaugural bout for GCW for the women's title. So I was like, okay, check one, check two. You got this is the first time this bout was announced, and then Trish happens to win it. And then she held it for so long that it's like how I just feel like in a situation where you held the belt for so long and you was just like amazing, even when defending the belt and defending the title, it's like this has to be on the list. It's just like, and then this was her first championship that she had. So, I believe the belt she has, she's technically the only person that's been inaugural championship holder. So she's the belt
twice.
Like introduced. Yeah. So to me, that was pretty cool. And so I'm like, that's a pretty cool thing to have as part of your career and stuff. Like you're the inaugural champion, and then you held them for a long period of time. And everybody can't say that, So that was why for me it was like your first championship, but also again a couple of milestones checked off at the same time. So
yeah. It's crazy. I'm just looking at the comment, the fact that she hasn't been on Impact, or I know she's done Shine and stuff like that, but she did do NXT, like I said before, but I just can't believe that she hasn't been signed. But I'm seeing people like Chelsea Green, who freshly off of NXT. I don't know what it is inside their house, but she looks like she stays working. And she stays in those bikinis and she stays doing photo shoots. So maybe the indie scene is where it's at. That's where the money is. So, however you make it work. So, but yeah, that was definitely a great match. The number 2 position. Well, I think I can't remember if you were on the show when we announced this. So in September 2021, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, PWI, released their 31st annual PWI 500. Trisha Adora ranked the highest among the women that made the list. So she was number 44. Again, why isn't she signed? Great moment. PWI, if you go back and watch when we discussed the PWI 500 with Kristen from Bell to Bells, their criteria and how they break it down. And this is one of few women on this list. It's very hard to do. And she's the number 1 ranked, and she's on the indies because I think Jordan Grace, who's on Impact, was on there as well. So really great moment. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think, dang it, Tootie Lynn, she had mentioned that after she was on the NWA and then I think she was on the PWI 150, that her bookings got more. It'd be interesting I would be curious to see if after being on the PWI 500, if she got more bookings or she got a better rate for her bookings. That would be, I would love to see the correlation between as far as people in the indie scene and their booking rates. But yeah, what made you make this put this in the number 2 spot?
So yeah, the fact that she was the highest ranked woman on the PWI 500 list, and some of the women that made that list were women that will probably be a little more known than she was, and she beat all of them to hit top 50. So that was like amazing. Again, I'm a fan of her work. I've seen her wrestle both men and women with ease. Uh, so for me, it's like she better have been on the list. So it was cool to know that she kind of was the first woman to rank that high, but then also making the PWI 150 list, and she was in top 20. And while I did on the episode we did discuss it, I did say I thought she'd been top 10, and I'm a little bit biased this because of how I've seen her work with, again, both men and women. So I felt she should have been a little higher, but I understood like with how they did the ratings and everything, so it made sense. But my biasness was like definitely should have been top 10. So just on that alone to make both lists, but to be so high on both lists, again, for somebody who's not in like a super major promotion, like the Ring of Honor came pretty recent to when they were doing this list. So to me, that was like, again, I love a good I love when women can just like check those boxes that pretty much like crash the, the ceilings to things. I love when women are able to do that. And so she did. And to make both lists and to be like top pretty much, and both lists is pretty amazing. So that's for me why I put it as number 2, just because both was like, you beat the women on the PWI 500 list as well, but then you're also top 20 with some amazing other women who kind of doing their thing in the ring as well. So pretty like amazing stuff there.
It is. And thank you, Robert, again for the research. Trisha Adora hasn't wrestled for NWA or AEW. It would have been nice to see her at the NWA Empower. I think she would have been a great fit. And then, I mean, I don't know if she's on the list for AEW. It feels like AEW is featuring a lot of women in AEW Dark. Again, AEW has a lot of stuff going on YouTube, so we may have missed it. But yeah, if they haven't, again, what are you waiting for? Like, I believe I forget the dark part. I feel like she'd be a really great, diverse person on the main roster for AEW, and I think she can handle her own. I can't speak to her mic skills, so can you speak to her mic skills? Do you know what her mic skills are like?
I mean, I feel like they're good. I got like for me, mic skills is if I can feel like I care, like by the time that promo is finished, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of want to see what happens next. I'm invested. So to me, anytime I've heard her, speak, she always had me invested enough that I'm like, all right, let's see you do your thing. So that's always my thing. I know people might look at it differently, but for me, it's like, how can you make me invested in this match or this feud? And so for me, she's always done that whenever I heard her speak. So
yeah, I think we're getting to this level now where I think we did an interview with Jordan Grace, and she was saying that a lot of people now and somebody else said that too. I think I was researching for another interview, but a lot of women who are coming up now, their first matches are on television, and it's just kind of like it's crazy the level of athleticism now compared to, and I don't know, I want to say 10 or 20 years ago, because athleticism might have been there. It's just more opportunities for women. It's just one of those things where it's just like, what's up, amazing tribe? It's just one of those things where I think the mic skills is what's going to separate a lot of people apart. Like I saw The Rock did an interview with a show called Jesus and Mero, which I absolutely love. And he was talking about his first match was in Madison Square Garden. And Vince McMahon thought that, okay, if you can make it in New York, then I can now invest in you. And it's just kind of like, say for instance, his mic skills, like of course, look wise, he looks the part. But say for instance, his mic skills were terrible. Would he be the Rock that we know of right now?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, so it's just like
especially in New York. New York is brutal. New York is so brutal in general with matches or like performances. They're brutal. So.
And it's just like, you could be a great wrestler, but can you also, without even talking, can you tell a story in the ring? Because there's a lot of people who can do like the flips and the tricks, and they're strong and stuff like that, but can you tell the story, the psychology of it? And some people can tell a story more than others, where they make you believe that even though this person's bigger than this person, they might lose. Like it's all those little nuances, and then you add the mic skills, hands down. So yeah, I am not privy to. I have not heard her mic skills. However, just her work ethic alone, because I remember we did the interview and she was talking about how she has wrestling on a loop. She's like cleaning the house. I think her work ethic alone, I don't foresee her mic skills being an issue. But I can't speak to it. I can't co-sign on it because I haven't heard it yet. And then the number one moment is that Trish first wrestled, oh, I can't pronounce his name, Eel O'Neill in the first round. So essentially she became the African World Diaspora Champion. What year was this? This is a while ago.
Yeah.
God, 2018 maybe?
Let me get the.
Because she's been a champion for a minute.
Yeah, she's held the belt since she's won it, so she's put it up quite a few times too.
Mm-hmm.
Against people, which I always thought was like.
Let's see. What's it saying on your end?
Saying, is it 2020? Am I reading this right? Let me see.
2022 years? That might be it. Before the pandemic.
Yeah,
definitely before the pandemic.
Yeah. So this is I believe this is 2020.
So she's held it for 639 days. It looks so like maybe February 15th, 2020, she got the belt.
Yeah.
It's crazy because the pandemic, it feels like how, what was it, daylight savings time? It feels like we lost a year, but added 5. I don't know. It's very weird. But it's only 2020 she got the belt. She has it, so she's probably going to be hitting that 700 mark. I don't foresee her losing it anytime soon. Robert says he would like to see Trisha Adora versus Serena Deeb or Mickie James. Yes, and yes. Yes, and yes. We just need people to, like, I don't know what I feel like they're sleeping on her for that one. Now, so she has been defending this belt, and then also too, I think they announced that. Oh, dang it! Ooh, this is what happens. They announced that the belt was recognized now. Was it a couple months ago?
Yep.
So, I think she's going to be on a lot of people's lists if she already hasn't been. But what made you choose this as the number one moment versus, something like an ROH or something like that?
Well, for me, that belt is just, again, it's one of those, like, being a Black woman and in spaces where, it seems like Black women might have to work a little harder. I just feel like in general, Black women work a lot harder sometimes to kind of even get on the same playing field as other people who may not have worked as hard or may not have to go through all types of hoops to get to a place. So for me, you get a championship that's for like African people, and it's just like, pride and like dignity, but also, with some history as far as why it was created, and then to have her, not only beat men to win it, but then, she was also the inaugural champion and then held it. And I've seen quite a few of the matches where she did put that belt up, and did, again, against both men and women, and she did her thing. And so for something like that, again, another, like, she checked off another milestone, and then to have the belt be legitimized, I guess makes that all the better. It's like, it's very rare when you can see belts on the indie scene kind of make it where people are like, okay, this is the actual, and this is not to discredit anybody else's promotions or their belts or anything. It's just, let's keep a spade a spade. It is very rare when we see, indie belts kind of legitimate, like as if it's a serious belt. So for her to be put on the same belts with WWE or New Japan or AEW, it's like, okay, so that's another milestone you did as champion. And I get it, it has to have done with the fact that how well she's wrestled her matches defending the belt. So that, on top of that, and again, being like the first champion and the inaugural champion and all that, is just like, you think of that belt, you think of Trisha Adora. I feel like she's right. Like, even if she ever loses it, or if she, if that happens, I feel like it will always be associated with her because of what she did while holding the belt for being the very first champion. So it's like, how like certain belts, you're like, oh, you think of that one person that held the belt at some point. I feel like that's what it is with her and that belt. So that just was number one off of that. It's just so many things. But for me, that's just like, it's an amazing thing to see a Black woman do the stuff that she does. And so that's my reason.
And those pictures that she has, like, I saw her pictures with the belt before I even knew who she was. Like, those pictures are just, I want to say iconic. I feel like 5 to 10 years from now, those pictures are still gonna be like those pictures are what you're gonna think of. So Amazing Tribe says Trisha Adora. Yeah, I would love to see Trisha Adora and Jade Cargill. Not for I don't know if that will. I don't know if that's a good match. I'd love to see them go against each other, but not until Jade gets a little bit more matches under her belt. Because I feel like if like Trish gets signed to AEW, because Jade is on this trajectory, like they're gonna squash Trish, and I don't want to see that. As a tag team, I don't know. I don't know about that one. You know, sometimes you hear tag teams like, yeah, that'd be great. I'm not seeing it. I might be wrong though. I mean, you know, we're all here talking about it. We're not the one making the decisions. Trisha Adora, Ruby Soho, that would be a good one too. I think that would be an interesting one. One match that I actually wanted to talk about. Well, actually, is there anything as far as that didn't make your top 5 that you're like, man, I wish we had a top 10 or a top 6 or something like that you're like, okay.
There was with also like an indie match at a promotion in August she had with Darius Carter, and I love him as well. Mm-hmm. He lives that gimmick, and that just like you kind of like, you know, you get the cocky person you kind of want to dislike, kind of, but then they do it so well. You're like, you know what, it's not necessary. He's one of those type of gimmicks. So even watching them kind of go back and forth leading up to the match, and then the actual match to see that, it was just like, okay, this is why she's like, she does everything with such ease when she's like wrestling, and she makes it even when she's going against men that sometimes are double her size. It's like, at no point am I sitting here like, I don't think this is impossible. She can win this. It's always like, oh, Trish got this. She got this. And I feel like because she's able to sell that in the ring and then tell that story that, you know, even if she may be a little smaller or, you know, it seemed like she has a really strong opponent, she's going to come out on top. So that to me was definitely one of the moments I wanted to put on the list, but I didn't, just because I don't know how many people would have knew what that was necessarily. But it was just, again, to see that in person, it's always like nice seeing her wrestle in person. It's just a whole different like vibe. It's like, oh yeah, she's in the building and she's wrestling. It's just, she's so everything. I know I sound like a fangirl right now, but I love her. I think she's amazing.
She is. There's one match that when I was researching for her interview that everybody was talking about. I'm trying to get the amount of time. It was an Iron Man match with Tim. Is it Tony or Tim? With Tony Deppen, and I'm trying to get how long. I think it was 90 minutes. Y'all let me know in the chat. But I watched this match. It was on April 14th, 2021. It was the first ever intergender 60-minute Iron Man match, and Adora beat Deppen 2 falls to 1. That match, if you guys have time, I definitely recommend checking out that match. That's the first thing when I read the list. I'm like, that match should have been on. But again, you only have 5, and the 5 that you did was really, really good. But that was like that match alone, because there's not too many women who can go. No, I shouldn't say not too many women, not too many people. Forget women. Not too many people can go wrestling for 60 minutes and make it entertaining. Like that match, I definitely recommend everybody check out that match. It was an amazing match. So that would be the only thing I would include in if I could like redo the top 5. But obviously, again, I've said this a million times. I'm not a writer, so thank you for writing this. That would be the only thing that I would include in the top 5. But where do you hope, or like, you know, because she's had so many great moments, and you know the I guess 2021 still young. I don't know. We have time. Where do you hope Trisha Adora, like what do you think her next moment should be, if you can write something in the universe for her?
I don't know. I would love to see her like putting it out there. I would love to see her take on Bianca Belair. I don't know in what could, like, if WWE decides one day to loosen the reins a bit, if she doesn't, because, you know, she wasn't NXT, so I don't know if she wants to necessarily go back there. But for her to, like, take on, like, Bianca Belair, actually, or even Sasha Banks, because Sasha Banks' personality, I think, will do a lot of, like, if you're trying to, who can you root for in a match, Sasha Banks' personality is, like, so like flamboyant and stuff, that I feel like Trisha Adora will have that real seriousness that needs to like maybe knock Sasha down a peg. So I would
Hmm.
love to see her wrestle them at some point. Like hopefully universe hear me and make that happen. But just for her to be signed somewhere that, I love her on the indies, but I do think more people should see, what she does. I feel like
Yeah.
she's talented enough to be on the bigger, like in the bigger scene where more people can see what she does. So
Yeah.
that's something I'm hoping. And, if she holds the belt for like another year, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine with her like holding the belt for like an extra long time and like just keep knocking the milestones out. Like, and maybe making the top 10 and PWI's next 150 list. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like she should have been in for this one, but she's still doing amazing things. So
She
hopefully by the
is.
next period that they're like look at, that she makes top 10. That'll be great.
I definitely, excuse me, I definitely agree with you. I'm gonna look up this because she takes some amazing pictures too. I'm gonna try to get this picture real quick. But I feel like I would like to see her go against Bianca. However, I think that it wouldn't have I don't I feel like if she were to be in WWE, they would try to change her to the point that she'd be unrecognizable,
Yeah, I
if that
agree
makes
with
sense.
that part.
And
Oh no, the
not to
WWE
say
don't do
that she has,
that
yeah, not to say that she has to stay the same, but it's just kind of like I don't think they would get, Trisha Dora's Instagram. I don't think they would get her, and I don't think they would use everything. They wouldn't use the fact that she's a vet. Like I don't think they would use the things that you can use to tell a story. And it's just like, okay, like what are y'all doing? Dang it, I can't find this one picture that she had. Just Adora. It's a 222. I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Anyways, go to her IG page. She has some amazing pictures on there, so I definitely recommend. Well, one, go and follow her. Her Twitter and IG, I'm getting it for you now. Trisha Adora 202. So definitely go and follow her. Great matches. She even her time at ROH, she had some great matches. So definitely go and check those out. I'm trying to look for these pictures, but I guess it's not happening. And I think her next match, it looks like she's gonna be in. She's gonna be in Dallas. So definitely go and check out Trisha Adora. Go and follow her and show some support. Tell her we sent you. But other than that, those are her top 5 moments. So like I said, Katrina is doing double duty. She's a host and she's a writer for Women's Wrestling Talk. So what other top 5 moments are you working on at the moment?
I believe the next one will be Lita. I feel like most people know she was one of the women I was also a really big fan of because she was like she did her thing, but she was also very tomboyish, and that was like me. It's like I didn't really like I'm girly, but I didn't dress girly, so it's like I liked pink and I liked all that cutesy stuff, but I also was always in like jeans or sweats or being comfortable. I didn't really do the whole dresses skirts thing. So for me, and then she was my favorite tag team of all time. So like that was just all these things, the Hardy Boys and my guys. So her being able to kind of hang with them when it came to doing like the high flying stuff to me was like, oh my god. So she's the next one I am working on. It should be cool. Because even meeting her, I had like a whole meltdown. But I tend to do this. I try not to get myself in the night before, like, oh my god, they love me so much, and then But that's the next one I am working on. Like definitely working on. I'm sure I'll probably put something out before then, but
there
I do
it
a lot
is.
of writing, guys. I do a lot of writing.
It's a lot. I don't envy you at all. So where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Cat We Trust. E is a 3, and I'm also on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So check me out on there as well.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching back. Make sure you like and subscribe these videos. We really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. We restarted Women's Wrestling Talk God, maybe a year and some change ago, and to see where it is now. Like we're coming up on our like 1 year anniversary of interviewing Trish Stratus, and that's when the numbers started really growing. But prior to that, I mean, we were around. So I really appreciate you guys for helping to grow the channel, helping to grow the brand. So thank you so much for that. Make sure that you're following us on all social media platforms, WW Talk Pod. Check out our website. That's where all these articles are. That's where all the interviews are. We have a lot of great content on there. So go to www.talkpod.com. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, I want to announce who our next interview is going to be next week, but I'm not entirely sure. It might be some really big news. So I'm holding out before I put it out there. So until next time, guys, ciao.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.